Really interesting actually. I'd love to know more about sort of how the 5 life skills work and sort of the digital tools. I think there's a lot of potential for perhaps synergy with a lot of the work that we've been doing at IOM recently. So I've been managing a large EU funded project called Link It. It's actually just finished, but a lot of the resources similar to this will be available for free online. But we've been doing a lot of work around sort of like refugees' skills profiling and how sort of like, you know, they can better demonstrate their skills and experience pre-departure, so that when they arrive in their new country they can better sort of like demonstrate them. So I think with the sort of the 5 skill areas, there's a lot of overlap with some of the skills profiling we've been doing with refugees. So yeah, I'd love to know more. So the project's working in Jordan, Lebanon and Turkey. So refugees are resettling from those 3 countries to very similar to this project actually. So we've been working across 4 European countries: Germany, Portugal, Romania and the UK. Refugees themselves, they sort of like, we have a digital tool, but we also have a paper-based version. They fill in sort of like a questionnaire and it maps out their skills and experience in the workplace, but also outside the workplace, especially for sort of like groups that have been sort of like shut out from the workplace in Syria. Women, for example, that have kind of like lots of experience around the home, childcare, cooking. It helps us sort of like bring those kind of like skills and experience out and allow them to demonstrate it, and it creates a mini CV for them. It also shows their digital skills, it shows their aspirations, it shows their lingual abilities. So again, I think there's a lot of synergy in terms of some of the work that's been going on within the Rebuild programme. So yeah. Well, mental health is definitely a big issue, especially obviously in the UK. The resettlement programme is based on sort of like vulnerable Syrians. So mental health, obviously physical health is a big concern for a lot of the refugees that are coming over, and they do need support. So yeah, I think it's always important to bring in sort of those areas around kind of like mental health provision, but also sort of like recognition as well. In certain communities, sometimes it can be taboo, or it can be difficult to talk about. So I think definitely anything that sort of like maximises bringing mental health, not just to sort of like a single section on its own, separated from everything, but linked into sort of like recognition of skills and experience, sort of like aspirations, development opportunities. I think it's very important. Yeah, agreed. I think for me, all I would say is IOM definitely thinks that labour market integration is very key for sort of like refugee, but also migrant like integration. And obviously here in the UK, there's stats out there. I'm sure you've seen them. Like refugees are 3 times more likely to be out of the labour market than non-refugee populations. So we're working very hard on how we can sort of like, you know, link up with other organisations, but also our own initiatives on how we can improve the employability, but also how we can link employers up and make them better aware of the benefits to themselves as an organisation, but also to migrants and refugees to better engage, to provide sort of like routes to the labour market. And we've actually very recently, in collaboration with UNHCR, BITC, the Home Office and the Department for Work and Pensions, we've released a guide for private employers on an Inspire, Hire, Grow framework on how they can engage with refugees better. So to hear initiatives like this that are actually working to better sort of like demonstrate the skills and experience of refugees, but also provide opportunities for them to sort of like, you know, build leadership qualities, or sort of like, you know, engage with their own diaspora or their own communities and sort of like develop those employability skills themselves, but also help members of their own community or other communities. I think it's all admirable initiatives.